to the news.
From the studios of ITN, the news and sport with Dermot Murnaghan and Graham Miller.
Hello, welcome to the programme. The headlines today: a community in shock over the street killing of a man who tried to stop a robbery. And in sports, Dan Collimore's the hero for Liverpool against his old club Forest. Police in Bristol are hunting an armed and dangerous gang after a father of three was shot dead while trying to stop a street robbery. Two brothers who tried to intervene during the attack in St Paul's were also wounded. Robert Hall reports.
The police operation in the heart of St Paul's was sparked by the sound of gunshots as partygoers returned from New Year celebrations. The victim of the shooting had come upon four men apparently engaged in a mugging. Seconds later, he lay dead with gunshot wounds outside this taxi office, his two companions injured.
The level of violence used then was dramatically upped, and within a few seconds, literally, one person was pistol whipped over the head, another was shot in the side, and a third person was shot at point-blank range in the head, and he died almost immediately.
The whole area was sealed off to enable a detailed examination of the scene, during which further bloodstains were discovered in a street some distance away. This shooting, the third in recent weeks, has come as a blow to St Paul's. The man who died was a well-respected figure in a community trying with some success to clean up its streets. The escalation in violence has horrified those who paid their respects to another grieving family. Detectives carrying out house-to-house inquiries are investigating claims that the shooting was carried out by a group from Manchester. They've warned that the four men may still be armed and are extremely dangerous. Robert Hall, ITN, Bristol.
The deputy leader of the Ulster Unionists, John Taylor, has warned the government not to take his party's support for granted. His comments follow the Northern Ireland Secretary's pledge that there'll be no special deals with the Unionists over the peace process, despite the government's reduced majority. Our political correspondent Hugh Pym reports.
With their majority now wafer thin after Emma Nicholson's defection to the Liberal Democrats, the government are more dependent than ever on the support of the Ulster Unionists. Today, though, the Northern Ireland Secretary ruled out any special guarantees to the Unionists as the peace process moved forward.
Everybody's been running this for years, secret deals and so on. Doesn't happen like that. Of course, the Ulster Unionist Party are the largest unionist party in Northern Ireland. They represent people who are the majority in Northern Ireland, greater number of people living there, so their views have always been given very great importance.
But that seems to have riled the Unionists. Their reaction: don't take us for granted.
Well, it sounds a little bit pompous, but I don't think any Conservative member of government has any right to be pompous these days. They're now in decline, and they clearly will depend upon others. And it's up to those of us in the opposition parties to decide how we react to this government.
Depending on the issue, the Ulster Unionists say they wouldn't hesitate to vote against the government, even if that might lead to an early general election. Hugh Pym, ITN.
The secret government documents from 30 years ago, released for the first time today, show that the Great Train robbery almost sparked a change in Britain's currency. The then Prime Minister Harold Wilson had wanted every pound note withdrawn from circulation to make the robbers' haul worthless. Tim Wilcox reports.
The Great Train robbery was the biggest theft in history, the gang making off with more than £2.5 million in used banknotes. The police's failure to capture all those responsible clearly rankled Harold Wilson, who hatched an extraordinary plot to deprive the robbers of their spoils. 2 years before his famous pound in your pocket speech, Wilson wanted to withdraw all banknotes from circulation, asking bank customers to surrender their old money for notes with a new design. Such a move would have left the gang with worthless bits of paper, but according to the Treasury and the Bank of England was totally impractical. Of more importance, however, to one minister of cabinet rank at the time is why there's a 30-year rule at all.
Why can't we know? Because there are very few real secrets, military secrets, budgets maybe, negotiating positions, but most information, if it comes out, may embarrass the government, but it doesn't damage the national interest.
Confronted by the declaration of independence in Rhodesia and the worsening situation in Vietnam, Wilson's banknote plan was quietly dropped, his government preoccupied with other things. Tim Wilcox, ITN.
Now with the New Year's Day sport, here's Graham Miller. Sport was hit by the weather again. 32 football matches lost today, but in the Premiership in England, a red-hot game at Anfield. Steve Stone gave Forest an early lead against Liverpool. Ian Wone put them 2 up. Then 2 from Robbie Fowler pulled Liverpool back before Stan Collymore put Liverpool ahead against his old club, of course. It ended 4-2. And 2 goals in 2 minutes from Duncan Ferguson, his first since his release from prison, helped Everton to a 3-2 win at Wimbledon. Now here's a full classified check, starting with the FA Carling Premiership. Coventry 1, Southampton 1, Leeds 0, Blackburn 0, Liverpool 4, Nottingham Forest 2, Manchester City 2, West Ham 1, Middlesbrough Aston Villa is a 6 o'clock kick-off, Sheffield Wednesday 4, Bolton 2, Tottenham Manchester United an 8 o'clock kick-off, Wimbledon 2, Everton 3. The NZ League Division 1, Birmingham Wolves match postponed, Derby 2, Norwich 1, Grimsby 1, Huddersfield 1, Ipswich 5, Port Vale 1, Luton Sheffield United postponed, Millwall 1, Leicester 1, Oldham Sunderland postponed, Portsmouth 2, Crystal Palace 3, Reading 1, Tranmere 0, Southend 0, Barnsley 0, and the matches at Stoke and West Bromwich were postponed. Division 2, Bradford Crewe postponed, Brighton 1, Stockport 1, and the games at Bristol Rovers and Burnley were postponed. Carlisle 1, Blackpool 2, and the matches at Notts County, Peterborough, Swansea, Walsall, Wrexham and Wickham were all postponed. Division 3, Bury 0, Hartlepool 3. The matches at Chester, Darlington, Doncaster and Fulham were postponed. Leyton Orient 0, Gillingham 1. Mansfield, Cambridge United was postponed. Plymouth 2, Exeter 2. Preston 5, Cardiff 0. Scarborough Barnet postponed. Torquay 2, Colchester 3. The Bell Scottish League Premier Division, just the one result. Hibernian 2, Hearts 1. No matches were played in either the Scottish League Division 1 or Division 2. Just one result in Division 3. Queen's Park 5, Albion 1. So a quick look at the top of the Premiership. Liverpool now just 7 points behind the leaders Newcastle, who play tomorrow. United, of course, could reduce their deficit to just a single point if they win at Tottenham tonight. Rugby League, Wigan are virtually assured of winning the Stones Bidder Championship after beating Warrington 41-12. Vaiga Tigamala scored a devastating hat-trick and then dedicated it to a young friend who died over the Christmas holidays. Only Leeds can now catch Wigan, but the chance of denying them a 7th consecutive title is looking slim. Cricket, and England could field their most attacking side of the winter for tomorrow's deciding Test match against South Africa. Devon Malcolm is standing by for a recall in a 5-man bowling attack. And that's all for now. Tonight's late news is at 10:40. Join us then. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Hello, good evening. Not the brightest way to start the year, grey and misty for most of us today, and that's very much how tomorrow will be as well. It's still quite cool in eastern counties, a light northeasterly breeze there, but the warmer air is trying to come out from the south, and that process will continue right through this week. The chart for Wednesday shows milder air coming up from the south. These weather fronts will produce a little bit of rain at times in the north and west, but for most of us the outlook is fairly mild and dry for most of the time. Tonight's going to be another very misty night, some dense fog around, so mind how you go on the roads. Still 1 or 2 icy patches too up on the high ground, and still a little bit of rain and sleet up in the far north of Scotland. Apart from that, it's a basically dry night. And then tomorrow, a grey start again, very much like this morning, with the mist and fog lingering well into the day. As we go through the day, there's a chance of a little bit more brightness coming along for western parts of England and Wales. And temperatures are doing their best. They're heading up slowly. The warmest weather is down in the south and west. For the rest of us, around 3 or 4 again tomorrow. But it is warming up as we go through the week very slowly. Here's a summary.
Sponsored by PowerGen, producing electricity, whatever the weather.
A new Ruth Rendell mystery.
I was naturally upset at Anne's death. As for my father...